The galaxy had rules. Strict rules. For hundreds of years, the Galactic Council created them, enforced them, and punished anyone who broke them. Entire planets were destroyed for refusing orders. No one questioned the Council. No one disobeyed. Until the humans arrived. They came from a small blue planet on the edge of the galaxy. At first, the Council ignored them. Humans had no empire, no great armies, no ancient wisdom like other races. The Council believed they were just another primitive species who would quietly follow the laws. But humans were different. They were explorers, adventurers, troublemakers. They didn't care about rules made by strangers sitting in a shiny hall far away. And one day, the entire galaxy realized this, through blood and fire. It began with a single ship. The human vessel Wanderer crossed into forbidden space, territory owned by the Council's most powerful member race, the Torcan. No ship dared to go there without permission. The Council saw the Wanderer on their scanners and immediately sent warnings. Human vessel, you are in restricted space. Turn around now, the message said. On the bridge of the Wanderer, Captain Elias leaned back in his chair. He was calm, almost too calm. Around him, his crew waited nervously. What do we tell them, sir? Asked the pilot. Elias smiled faintly. Tell them, humans don't follow rules. The message was sent. When the Torcan commander read it, he laughed. Foolish creatures, he said. They will learn today. But the aliens didn't know the simple truth. Humans didn't wait to learn. Humans acted. The Council expected the Wanderer to surrender immediately. That was the usual response. Every other species feared the Council's power. Their warships could crush cities from orbit. Their fleets covered the stars. But the human ship didn't move. The Torcan commander gave the order, destroy them. 5 alien cruisers surrounded the Wanderer, their weapons locked on target. Inside the human ship, the crew watched in silence. Some were pale with fear. Others tightened their grips on the controls. Captain Elias spoke softly. Fire when ready. The first alien cruiser exploded before the Council even realized the Wanderer had weapons powerful enough to fight back. The Wanderer was small but fast. Its weapons were precise, brutal, and nothing like the Council had ever seen. Within minutes, 3 alien cruisers were reduced to burning wrecks drifting in space. This is not possible, shouted the Torcan commander as alarms screamed around him. They were supposed to be weak. The surviving ships tried to retreat. The Wanderer let them run. The message was clear. Humanity would not bow. News of the battle raced across the galaxy. For centuries, the Council's fleets had ruled unchallenged. Entire empires surrendered at the sight of their flag. But now, one small human ship had destroyed the pride of the Torcan fleet and escaped unharmed. Some alien leaders demanded revenge. Others whispered about peace before it was too late. But none of them truly understood what they were facing. Humans were not just another species. They were something the galaxy had never seen before. On Earth, the footage of the battle spread like wildfire. People filled the streets, cheering Captain Elias and his crew. Children shouted his words in classrooms. Soldiers painted them on walls and armor. Humans don't follow rules. We make them. But military leaders on Earth did not celebrate for long. They knew the Council would return with greater force. Humanity had won a battle, but the war was coming. And this time, the whole galaxy would be against them. In the Council's grand chamber, anger filled the air. Alien voices shouted over each other. They defy us. They must be crushed before others follow their example. They are nothing but animals with guns. But one old Council member spoke softly, almost to himself. Animals with guns win wars. The chamber fell silent. Across the stars, fleets began to gather. War drums beat in alien worlds. The Council promised to erase Earth from history. But far away, in secret human shipyards, giant warships were already under construction. Weapons no alien had seen before were being prepared. Humanity did not fear war. They welcomed it, because humans didn't follow rules. They made them. This was only the first clash. The real storm had not yet begun. And when it came, the galaxy would never be the same again. The Battle of the Wanderer spread across the galaxy like fire in dry grass. Entire planets heard about it within days. One small human ship had destroyed the mighty Torkin fleet and escaped. To the Galactic Council, it was an insult. To the humans, it was only the beginning. The Council demanded answers. They wanted the humans to surrender the Wanderer, its crew, and all weapons used in the attack. But Earth didn't reply. The silence made the Council furious. They expected fear. They expected begging. But humanity gave them nothing. On Earth, leaders gathered in secret underground rooms. The footage of the Wanderer's victory played on giant screens. Captain Elias stood before generals, scientists, and politicians. He had become a hero overnight. Children painted his face on walls. Songs were written about him. But Elias wasn't smiling. "They will come," he said firmly. "The Council will send fleets, armies, maybe even planet-killer weapons. They won't stop until Earth is ash." The room was silent. Everyone knew he was right. One general finally spoke. "Then we don't wait for them. We prepare." And so the storm began to rise. In hidden shipyards orbiting Earth's moon, massive warships were being built in silence. These were not ordinary ships. They were faster, stronger, and deadlier than anything the Council had ever seen. Humans had learned quickly. They studied alien weapons, alien shields, alien strategies, and then built something better. No other race had ever done this before. The Council had ruled for centuries because no one adapted fast enough to challenge them. But humans were different. Every defeat taught them. Every victory pushed them further. They were not afraid of war. They were preparing to win it. Across the galaxy, the Council was also gathering its forces. Thousands of ships from 100 alien races assembled under one banner. They believed numbers would crush the humans. "We will drown them in our fleets," said the Torkin commander whose ships had been destroyed by the Wanderer. His pride burned hotter than his anger. "We will show the galaxy what happens to those who break the Council's laws." But some Council members were not so sure. "They destroyed 5 of your ships with one vessel," an elder alien said slowly. "What happens when they send 10? Or 50? "They are insects," the commander shouted. The elder's dark eyes glimmered. "Insects built the pyramids on their world. Insects brought down giants in their history. Do not underestimate them." But his warning was ignored. Meanwhile, on Earth, soldiers trained day and night. Space pilots flew new fighters through asteroid fields for practice. Scientists tested weapons in remote deserts where the night sky burned with strange lights. Captain Elias watched the preparations with a hard expression. He knew this war would decide the future of humanity. Either they would be free, or they would be erased from history. He visited the Wanderer, now repaired and upgraded. The crew saluted him, their faces young but determined. "Do you regret it, sir?" one asked quietly. "Sending that message to the Council? Telling them we make the rules?" Elias looked at the stars for a long moment. "No," he said finally, "because it was true." The Council sent another message to Earth. "Surrender your fleets. Hand over the Wanderer. Kneel before the Council, or face extinction." This time Earth replied. The message was simple. 2 words. "Come. Try." When the Council read it, anger shook their grand chamber. Fleets were ordered to launch at once. Thousands of ships began moving toward human space. But what they didn't know was that humanity was ready. Hidden bases on Mars, secret stations near Jupiter, stealth fleets near Saturn, Earth had prepared traps everywhere. For centuries, the Council had been the hunters. Now they were walking into the lion's den. In a dark room deep below Earth's surface, generals and scientists gathered around a holographic map of the solar system. Red lights marked Council fleets moving closer. Blue lights marked hidden human forces waiting silently. "Let them come," a general said coldly. "When they enter our space, we close the jaws." The room was silent. Everyone knew the risk. The Council's fleets were huge. But humanity had something bigger than ships or weapons. They had the will to fight. And they were about to teach the galaxy a lesson it would never forget. Far away, on the Wanderer, Captain Elias stood on the bridge once more. His crew waited for orders. "Sir," the pilot said softly, "the Council is coming with everything they have." Elias smiled faintly. "Good," he said. "It's time they learn. Humans don't follow rules. We make them." The storm was rising, and soon the galaxy would feel its full power. The storm had finally reached human space. From the dark side of Jupiter to the glowing rings of Saturn, the skies were filled with Council warships. Thousands of alien vessels stretched across the black void like a metal ocean, their weapons locked, engines burning, ready to crush Earth under their power. The Council believed this would be easy. To them, humans were just noisy newcomers who didn't know their place. A single battle, a single overwhelming strike, and humanity would kneel like every other race had before. But this time, things were different. On the flagship Iron Will, Admiral Serac, a Torcan with cold red eyes, watched the holographic map. "Forward fleets advance," he ordered in a sharp voice. "We will erase their cities by dawn." Beside him, a council aide looked nervous. "Sir, the humans destroyed the Wanderer battle group with only one ship. Perhaps we should." Serac silenced him with a glare. "That was luck. Nothing more. Today they learn fear." But the one who would learn fear was not the humans. Far below, hidden inside Saturn's shadows, the first human fleet waited. 50 warships, dark and silent, their hulls painted to vanish against the blackness of space. They carried weapons no alien fleet had ever seen before. On the lead ship Resolute, Captain Elias stood on the command deck, arms folded, eyes fixed on the approaching Council fleet. "Sir," the tactical officer said, "they outnumber us 20 to 1. Elias nodded slowly. "Good," he said. "Let them think numbers will save them." The crew waited for his order. The air was tight, heavy with silence. Finally, Elias spoke. "Fire the nets." From the human fleet, hundreds of small drones shot out in all directions, too tiny and fast for the Council to notice. They spread across space like a silver web, linking ship to ship with invisible threads. When the first wave of Council ships crossed the invisible line, the trap snapped shut. Engines died. Weapons went dark. Ships drifted helplessly as if someone had cut their power with a single stroke. On the Iron Will, alarms screamed. "What happened?" Admiral Serac shouted, rage in his voice. "Unknown interference," a technician cried. "Our systems. They are dead, sir." Serac's eyes burned with anger. "Find the source." But it was already too late. From the darkness, human warships moved like ghosts. Their weapons glowed red, then unleashed fire across the helpless Council fleet. Explosions filled the sky. Alien ships, once feared across the galaxy, were torn apart one by one. Admiral Serac watched in shock as his fleet burned. His pride, his power, everything he had trusted was falling apart before his eyes. How is this possible?" he whispered. The aide beside him stared at the firestorm outside. "Sir, I think the humans were waiting for us." On the Resolute, Captain Elias watched the chaos without smiling. "Hit their flagships first," he ordered. "Cut off their command." Human torpedoes streaked across the void, hitting the Council's largest ships. Command centers vanished in bursts of light. Within minutes, half the forward fleet was gone. The Council's numbers meant nothing. Their size meant nothing. Their centuries of dominance meant nothing. For the first time in history, the hunters were the prey. Messages of panic spread through the surviving Council ships. "They were ready for us. They know our tactics," requesting permission to retreat. But retreat was impossible. The human fleet had already blocked their escape routes. Admiral Serac slammed his fist on the console. "This is not a war. This is slaughter." On alien worlds across the galaxy, civilians watched the battle through secret broadcasts. They saw the Council fleet, their so-called protectors, burning in human space. They saw the small, defiant human ships tearing through fleets that had ruled the stars for centuries. And for the first time, the galaxy began to whisper a dangerous thought. Maybe the Council was not as powerful as it claimed. The battle ended after 6 hours. Of the 3,000 Council ships that entered human space, less than 500 crawled back across the border, damaged and broken. The rest were gone, destroyed. Silence fell over the council chamber when the news arrived. Some refused to believe it. Others demanded immediate revenge. But one elder alien spoke slowly, his voice trembling. "It has begun," he said. "The age of fear has begun. And it is not ours to give anymore. It is theirs." On the Resolute, Captain Elias stood alone, watching the wreckage drifting across the stars. He knew this was only the first major battle. The Council would come again with even more ships, more weapons, more rage. But now, they were afraid. And fear changed everything. Elias turned to his crew. "Send this message," he said, "to the Council, to the entire galaxy." The crew waited. "Tell them," Elias said softly. This was just the beginning. The council chambers were silent. The warlords, admirals, and politicians of 100 alien races sat frozen, their faces pale with disbelief. The images of their burned fleets, drifting wreckage, and broken flagships played again and again on the giant screens. 3,000 warships had entered human space. Only a few hundred had limped back. No one spoke at first. Then slowly the shouting began. "They destroyed our fleets. This is impossible. Humans are a young race. They broke our power in one battle." But the oldest member of the council, Elder Thar, raised his hand. His voice was calm, yet heavy. "No," he said. "This was not just one battle. This was a warning. The humans are telling us something." Admiral Serac, whose pride had been shattered along with his fleet, slammed his clawed fist on the table. "They are mocking us. We must strike again. Send every fleet we have. Crush them before others rebel." But deep inside, even Serac knew something had changed. The council was no longer feared the way it had been for centuries. Because now, someone had beaten them. While the council argued, the galaxy watched. On distant planets, slaves whispered about the humans. On mining colonies, workers looked to the stars with new hope. Even some council member races began to wonder if the humans could free them from the council's iron rule. Everywhere, one sentence spread like fire. Humans don't follow rules. They make them. On Earth, preparations for the next strike moved faster than ever. In secret shipyards hidden beyond Neptune, giant warships were being built. They were bigger than anything humans had ever made before, covered in thick armor and armed with weapons designed to punch through entire fleets. But weapons were not enough. Humans needed information, so spies were sent deep into council space. One of them, a young woman named Kara, slipped through alien cities disguised as a traitor. She listened to council officers in dark taverns, bribed informants, and hacked into secret transmissions. What she learned made her blood run cold. The council was preparing something huge. Not just fleets, not just armies. They were building a weapon big enough to destroy a planet. Back on Earth, Kara reported to Captain Elias. "They call it the Sun Spear," she said, her voice tight. "It can burn an entire world in minutes. They plan to use it on Earth first." The room fell silent. Elias stared at the hologram of the weapon Kara had stolen from the council's files. It was the size of a small moon, covered with giant solar lenses and plasma cannons. The council wasn't just coming for victory now. They were coming for extinction. The human leaders gathered once more. Generals, scientists, admirals, and spies filled the war room deep beneath Earth's surface. Some wanted to launch an immediate strike before the weapon was finished. Others argued they needed more ships, more allies, more time. Elias listened to them all, his face hard. Finally, he spoke. "Time," he said, "is the one thing we don't have. The moment the Sun Spear is complete, they will use it. And when they do, there will be no Earth left to save." The room fell quiet again. Then one general asked, "What do you suggest?" Elias looked at the hologram of the giant weapon. His voice was cold. "We destroy it before it fires, no matter the cost." Meanwhile, across council space, fear slowly began to spread. The council leaders gave speeches about strength, control, and law. But ordinary people had seen the recordings of human victories. They had watched entire fleets fall. Some races secretly began sending messages to Earth. Offers of supplies, weapons, even soldiers willing to fight against the Council. The rebellion had not started yet, but the first sparks were glowing, and the Council knew it. On the Resolute, Captain Elias prepared his crew for the most dangerous mission yet. "We hit the sun spear before it is ready," he told them. "If we fail, Earth burns. If we succeed, the Council loses everything." His crew nodded. Some were pale with fear. Others tightened their fists with determination. They all knew what this meant. This was no longer about winning battles. This was about survival. Far away, on the half-built sun spear, alien workers and soldiers prepared for the final stages of construction. None of them knew that human ships were already moving toward it, silent and hidden in the dark between the stars. None of them knew the storm was coming for them next. And when it arrived, the entire galaxy would feel its power. The galaxy thought it knew humans. They believed Earth had shown everything in the last battles. Their fleets, their weapons, their courage. The Council told itself the humans had nothing left, that they were desperate, reckless, and outnumbered. But the Council was wrong. Humans had secrets, and soon the entire galaxy would see them. The sun spear was almost ready. In the dark void near the star Theta Prime, the giant weapon floated like a monster waiting to wake. It was larger than any ship, its surface covered with solar lenses and plasma cores. Once completed, it could burn a planet to ash in minutes. The Council planned to fire it at Earth first. One shot, one world gone. But before they could finish it, human ships were already moving through the shadows of space. On the Resolute, Captain Elias studied the hologram of the sun spear. Around him, his officers waited for his orders. "Can we destroy it before it fires?" one of them asked. Elias didn't answer right away. His eyes were on the spinning image of the weapon. It was massive, heavily guarded by fleets and defense stations. A direct attack would be suicide. "We can't fight it head-on," he said finally. "We need something they've never seen before." His officers looked at each other. "Sir," one asked slowly, "you mean the project?" Elias nodded. "It's time." The Council didn't know about the hidden bases on the far side of the moon. They didn't know about the secret labs under the frozen ice of Europa. They didn't know about the ancient tunnels under Mars where scientists had worked for years on weapons too powerful to reveal. Until now. Humanity had been preparing for this war long before the Council even realized it. Project Thunderstrike, Project Ghost Fleet, Project Eclipse. Names whispered in secret halls, known only to a few. Now those secrets were coming to life. The first surprise came when the Resolute called for reinforcements. The Council expected ordinary human warships, the kind they had fought before. But what appeared in the dark stunned even the crew of the Resolute. Ships 3 times bigger than anything humans had ever used before. Black hulls covered in strange armor that bent light around them, making them nearly invisible. Weapons glowing with energy no alien scanner could identify. It was as if the humans had pulled monsters out of the void itself. "Sir," whispered one of Elias's officers, staring at the new fleet. "What are those?" Elias's voice was calm, almost cold. "Those," he said, "are the Ghost Fleet." While the new ships joined the battle group, scientists on Earth activated Project Eclipse. Across human space, powerful satellites turned toward the stars. When the sun spear tried to charge its massive weapon, beams of interference hit it from across light years. Its systems flickered, its power levels dropped, and its firing sequence failed again and again. The Council commanders shouted in confusion. "What is happening to the sun spear? Why won't it charge? Where is the energy drain coming from?" But they couldn't find the source. Because humanity had filled the skies with invisible weapons the Council couldn't even detect. At the same time, human stealth teams moved through the sun spear's outer stations. They cut power lines, planted explosives, and vanished before alarms were raised. The Council didn't understand how humans slipped past their defenses. Their scanners saw nothing. Their patrols found nothing. It was as if ghosts moved among them. On the Council homeworld, panic began to spread. "They have technology we've never seen before," one advisor cried. "How is this possible? They were primitive 100 years ago." But Elder Thar, the oldest member, spoke slowly, his voice filled with dread. "Do you not see? They learned from us. They watched our weapons. They studied our fleets. And then, they built better ones." Back at the Sun Spear, Admiral Serac gave the order to fire even with partial power. "Burn Earth," he shouted. "I don't care if it's unstable, fire." But when the Sun Spear tried again, half its systems shut down. Explosions tore through its energy banks as human sabotage teams triggered the charges they had planted hours earlier. From the darkness, the Ghost Fleet opened fire. Blue beams of energy cut through the Sun Spear's defenses like paper. Alien warships guarding it were ripped apart before they could even return fire. On the Resolute, Captain Elias watched as the Sun Spear cracked apart, its core exploding in a blinding flash. Cheers erupted across every human ship. Earth was safe for now. But Elias didn't cheer. He knew the war was far from over. The Council had seen only a fraction of humanity's strength. And the next phase would decide the fate of the galaxy itself. The Sun Spear was gone. Across the galaxy, the news spread like wildfire. The Council's most powerful weapon, the one meant to burn Earth to ash, was nothing but wreckage now. On alien worlds, people whispered in the streets. Some cheered quietly where Council soldiers couldn't hear them. Others watched in silence, their eyes filled with a hope they had not felt in centuries. For the first time in living memory, the Council looked weak. And the humans? They looked unstoppable. But the Council was far from finished. In the Grand Chamber, the leaders of every alien empire gathered. Rage burned in their eyes. Fear too, though none of them admitted it. Admiral Serac stood before them, his voice sharp like a blade. "We throw everything we have at them," he growled. "Every fleet, every weapon, every soldier. Earth will fall even if we burn the entire system to do it." Elder Thar, the oldest member, spoke slowly. "You still do not understand them, Serac. Humans fight like no other race. Even if you crush their cities, their people will rise from the ashes." Serac slammed his fist on the table. "Then we burn the ashes too." And so the final storm gathered. From every corner of the galaxy, Council fleets moved toward human space. It was the largest armada in history. Tens of thousands of warships, dreadnoughts the size of moons, carrier vessels holding entire armies. It was more power than had ever been used in one place. The Council believed nothing could survive it. On Earth, the alarms rang across every base, every city, every command station. In underground bunkers, generals stared at the holographic maps. Red lights filled the edges of the solar system, showing the Council's massive fleet moving closer and closer. Captain Elias stood with them, his face hard but calm. "This is it," one general said. "The final battle." Elias nodded. "Then we make it count." The Ghost Fleet returned from the shadows. Giant human warships rose from shipyards on Mars and Titan. Fighter wings filled the skies over Earth like swarms of steel insects. Orbital cannons were armed, missile silos opened, defense satellites powered up. But humanity had one more surprise. Project Leviathan. No one outside the highest command knew about it. Even most soldiers didn't believe the rumors. Until they saw it. From the dark side of the moon, something enormous moved. At first, it looked like a mountain slowly rising into space. Then lights came alive along its surface, thousands of glowing blue lines. It was a ship. No, not a ship. A fortress. A moving city of steel and fire. The Leviathan. Bigger than anything the Council had ever built, armed with weapons designed in secret labs across decades. Its main cannon was said to be able to split a planet's crust. When the alien spies reported what they had seen, the Council commanders laughed nervously. "A bluff," one said. "It cannot be real." But deep inside, they were not so sure. The Council armada reached the edge of the solar system. Tens of thousands of ships filled the dark like a metal storm. Admiral Serac gave the order. "Advance." Burn everything. The fleet moved forward. Then the Leviathan fired. One shot. A beam of white light cut across space like a blade through water. 5 Council battleships vanished in a single blinding explosion. The Council armada slowed. For the first time, they hesitated. And the humans struck. From asteroid bases, hidden cannons opened fire. From Jupiter's moons, missile platforms launched wave after wave of warheads. Human fleets moved like wolves around a herd, striking fast and vanishing before the Council could catch them. The sky burned with explosions. But the Council's numbers were endless. For every alien ship destroyed, 3 more moved in. Slowly, painfully, they pushed toward Earth. On the Resolute, Captain Elias watched the battle rage across the system. "They're coming through," his officer said. Elias nodded grimly. "Then we hold them here, at any cost." Near Mars, human fleets clashed with alien dreadnoughts in brutal combat. Some ships rammed each other, exploding together in fireballs. Fighter wings twisted through the chaos like swarms of angry bees. On Earth itself, civilians watched the night sky flash with silent bursts of light. The war was above them, but its fate would decide everything below. After hours of fighting, the Council armada finally reached firing range of Earth. Admiral Sirac's voice thundered through his command ship. "Burn the planet!" But before the order could be carried out, the Leviathan moved into position. Its main cannon charged again, brighter than the sun. And this time, it aimed at the Council's command fleet. The final stand had begun. The fate of Earth and the galaxy would be decided in fire. The battle for Earth burned across the solar system like nothing the galaxy had ever seen. Alien warships fell in waves, their engines bursting, their shields cracking under human fire. But even as thousands of Council ships exploded, more kept coming. The sky above Earth glowed with fire. The Leviathan, Earth's giant warship, moved through the chaos like a mountain of steel. Its main cannon fired again and again, each blast tearing through entire enemy fleets. But the Council armada was massive, too massive. On the command deck of the Leviathan, Captain Elias watched the tactical maps. Red lights filled the screen, representing Council ships. Blue lights, human ships were fading fast. "They're throwing everything at us," his officer said quietly. Elias's voice was calm but heavy. "Then we throw everything back." Admiral Sirac on the Council flagship watched the Leviathan with cold fury. "Focus all weapons on that ship," he ordered. "I want it destroyed." Dozens of alien dreadnoughts turned their fire on the Leviathan. The sky erupted with energy beams slamming into its shields. The giant warship shook, metal tearing under the endless assault. But it didn't fall. Instead, the Leviathan's main cannon glowed brighter than ever before. "Fire," Elias said softly. The beam of white light cut across space. Sirac's flagship vanished in a single blinding explosion, along with half the Council's command fleet. The alien armada froze. For the first time in the war, they had no orders. On Council worlds across the galaxy, the news spread fast. Their leaders, safe in distant chambers, stared in horror. "The humans killed Admiral Sirac," one whispered. "They destroyed the command fleet," another said, voice shaking. "This can't be happening," a third muttered. But it was happening. The Council's power was breaking apart, one battle at a time. Back in the solar system, human fleets pushed forward. From hidden bases on asteroids, missile storms launched toward the remaining alien ships. Stealth fighters darted through enemy lines like shadows, planting bombs on dreadnought hulls. The Leviathan fired again, destroying another wave of Council warships. The alien armada began to retreat. First, it was slow. A few ships falling back, pretending to regroup. Then entire fleets turned and fled. The Council had come with the largest force in galactic history. Now they were running. On Earth, people filled the streets as the news came through. "The Council is retreating. We're winning. They're leaving our system." But Captain Elias didn't celebrate yet. He stood on the bridge of the Leviathan, watching the fleeing ships. "Do we chase them, sir?" his officer asked. Elias shook his head slowly. "No, let them run. But send a message. The message was simple. To the Galactic Council. This war is over. Earth will not kneel. From today onward, the galaxy will follow new rules. Ours. When the message reached the Council homeworld, chaos erupted. Some demanded surrender. Others wanted another attack even though their fleets were gone. Elder Thar, the oldest member, spoke for the first time since the defeat. His voice was calm, but the entire chamber fell silent when he spoke. It is finished, he said. The age of the Council is over. The humans have broken it. No one argued, because everyone knew it was true. Weeks later, in the Grand Chamber where the Council once ruled, leaders from across the galaxy gathered again. But this time, humans stood at the center. Captain Elias walked to the podium. His uniform was simple, his expression calm, but every eye was on him. You tried to destroy us, he said, his voice carrying through the hall. You made laws to control every race, every world, every life. Those days are over. Silence filled the chamber. No one moved. Elias's words cut through the air like a blade. From now on, he said, there will be freedom. No council controlling the galaxy. No empire ruling by fear. Those who want peace will have it. Those who want war will find us waiting. On alien worlds, people cheered as the news spread. The council's rule had ended. The galaxy was free, and everyone knew who had changed everything. Humans, the race the council had mocked. The species they had called reckless, lawless, primitive. The ones who didn't follow rules. The ones who made them. On the bridge of the Leviathan, Captain Elias watched the stars in silence. The war was over, but he knew the galaxy would never be the same. For centuries, the Council had ruled through fear. Now humanity ruled through strength and choice. Elias turned to his crew. Send one final message, he said. They waited. Tell the galaxy, he said softly. The humans are here to stay.